Good afternoon, everybody, and welcome back to Other Minds and Hands. This is episode number 113, and Maggie and I are back today. We wanted to do something we haven't done in a long time, which is,
Remember this show?
yeah, touch on the Rings of Power, um, which I have not much thought about in the last
It's
11
amazing
months
how
or so.
quickly it disappears from your brain. Like, you get all these notifications from our smartphones and stuff of 1 year ago today. And 1 year ago, we were filming season two in
Yes,
Studio Lab. And I
yes,
was like, haven't thought about it much since since then.
yes.
I think that might have been our brains protecting themselves, however, because we fit
We
so much
thought
into
about
six
it a
weeks.
whole lot during 6 weeks. We
Yeah.
spent many, many hours on it in that period. Uh, and yeah, yeah, and it is true afterwards. There was it was a great deal of time. And so afterwards, there were many other things to attend to. But it really does, I mean, I don't know. It's something, Maggie, I know that you've talked about a lot too, but it's the it really kind of speaks to the production and like the just and marketing rhythms of these things, of these shows, that their challenge is to not just keep audiences interested throughout an episode or throughout a season, right? But to get them to come back. It's because it would
Oh,
be so easy, and it makes me think of the number of times I've actually done it. Other shows that I've started, and then like, oh yeah, I always meant to get back and watch the next season, but then I forgot and I never got around to it. Like,
totally.
that is it's a huge, huge factor. Anyway, it
A
just
massive
yeah,
challenge, especially with like the amount of content that's out now. And,
yeah,
every time I turn on one of the streaming platforms, there's another new epic fantasy. So it's not a standout on
hmm
its own like it was when the Peter Jackson trilogy came out, or even like Game of Thrones. That was kind of unique in
hmm
its era.
hmm
And Game of Thrones, I stopped watching after season four. So,
right,
there's a challenge there of kind of maintaining the audience, the story, the engagement amongst all the noise of streaming. And it's real tough with this one that we don't have any content between seasons.
yes.
It's you kind of forget who some of the characters are, let alone what some of the drives are. So,
Yeah, it's easy to do. I mean, this is of course one of the reasons why I always like rewatch the earlier seasons, and I do this all the time. Like I do if I'm going back to watch season 6, I will often rewatch the first 5 seasons before I go to watch season 6
yep.
of something. Like it's one of the reasons I'm a little selective about what I watch because it's a commitment,
Yeah.
to stay current and everything.
I remember you warning me about that when we started this podcast, where it was like, I'm a completist.
Yeah, exactly.
Okay, so we're gonna do everything. Got it.
That's yeah, yeah. I really dislike just dabbling in things and you know brief or
This is
super.
not news to me.
Nah, no,
Yeah,
no, it's not
no.
shocking. Um, but yeah. Anyway, so it is as you say, you can. It's a particular challenge in these, and I would say the other, one of the other things, like one of the spots that Rings of Power has wanted to occupy from the beginning was like really, really high end production, right?
Yeah.
So this is not something that they can just kind of like rush through production and get out as soon as possible. There's going to be a great deal of time they are going to spend on production. Um,
And
uh,
not just the set creation, but the story development. They're
mhm,
not just whipping these scripts out. They
yes.
are, I know we've talked a lot about pros and cons of the scripts and the stories, and it doesn't mean that a ton of time equals a perfect script, but there's a lot of work going into these scripts,
And I think
and
there's
that is
plenty of
visible.
evidence to suggest that they made significant changes in the entire trajectory of the show between season
Yeah.
1 and season 2. Like
Yeah.
I think it's, I feel the evidence is quite clear that they made that change.
And it'll be interesting to see from two to three what shifts
Yeah,
yet again, because they're filming now. So the reason we're talking about them now is because there's these two new micro clips, is what I'll call
sneak
them.
previews they call them. Yeah,
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 that came out that we're gonna take a look at and talk about. But yeah, it has kind of been off our radar for a little while, and it'll be interesting. I mean, we know there's gonna be 5 seasons, right? So we know there's gonna be
well, so
five
I nod confidently and say yes, but see there again, like
originally.
that's what we were told. Like from the
That was
beginning,
the
of course,
plan,
we were
right?
told that like 5 seasons, book it, like that's the plan. And it was one of the things that separated the Rings of Power from so many other shows is that it wasn't like we're going to throw out a season and hope people like it, and if they do, we'll continue for a second season. That's the life of
Right.
most shows. Amazon signed a contract for the 5 seasons. Like they bought the 5 seasons of Rings of Power. Now that doesn't mean it can't be canceled.
Right.
And you know, like the discussion of, I mean, we remember how long it took for them to greenlight season 3.
Yeah.
So that didn't seem to be,
A shoe in.
yeah, to
Yeah.
be obvious. However, the package, like the plan, was always a 5-year arc. For this, a 5-season arc, I should say.
5 season.
10
Yeah, because
years
that's
now, as it's happening.
exactly. I was like, that's the thing with this 5 season arc, that this could be a 10 to 12 year commitment. Like, we're not hitting totally one every 2 years, but if that's their plan, then we're looking at a minimum of 10 years.
Yes, yeah. I mean, so
Yeah.
far, really, that's what it's been, is once every 2 years, and it's beginning to be now. At this point, it's hard to imagine it being less than that. It's hard to. I mean,
Yeah.
my initial thought when it took 2 years for season 2 to come out, I thought that had to do with the strike, because you know the strike happened in the middle of that, right? And so I was like, oh, you know, the strike happened or whatever. But it was, and there are other things too. Again, I think it was the delay of the green light that, you know, maybe they could have gone quicker if whatever, I don't know. But it is, you know, now 2 years is my expectation
Yeah.
for that. And so yeah, it's a long
And it
journey.
would be, I don't know, in the next 3 months, if we keep following a similar timeline, we would start seeing more trickle out about the next season. Because it was really January, February that things started kind of, I won't say ramping up, because it was never a ramping up. It was the occasional plop,
Right.
of like,
Right.
here's some stuff. But, we are kind of getting to that point where I imagine we'll start to see little snippets of story, characters, rumors,
Yeah.
images, costume, locations, things like that starting to come out.
Yeah. Yeah, exactly. But since they kind of, you know, broke that ground a little bit with the release, you know, that they reminded me of their existence by releasing these sneak previews. It'll be fun to look at them and talk about them together, and that can, you know, it would be an interesting time, you know, as it's been almost a year since I've thought about it. It'll be an interesting time to go back and kind of think a little bit more about it, think towards season 3, think about what we're expecting and what we can see. But let's
Yeah.
yeah.
It doesn't seem like it all important enough to actually ask the people that we have contacts with this question, but I'm just like, it was so hard for us to find these clips. We were not sent these clips.
Yeah.
We had to seek them out. We went to their
Hunt
Twitter,
for
to their
them, really.
X,
Yeah.
really hunt for them. And I
Yeah.
still haven't easily found them online. It's only because we asked a contact to send us the file that we have the file.
I
Like,
I stumbled across a reference to them and was like, "Wait, what? There was
yeah,
new
and
content?"
Corey mentioned it before last week's Other Man's Hands or whatever it was, and I was like, "Wait, there's something new? What? I haven't
That
seen
was
anything. It
yeah,
didn't come up in our group." And
yeah, it was remarkably indirect. So yes, this was not exactly widely circulated really, but
there was no element of viral
no.
on this clip.
Let's start with the sword one,
Okay,
shall we? Let's see. Hang
I'm
on.
gonna mute myself over here so I can watch it over there.
Okay. Oh, sorry, this is the crown one. Where did the sword one go? Okay, there it is. There we go. Let's start with the sword one. And it's short. It's 26 seconds long. So we can watch the entirety of it. We'll watch it through once and then we'll go back and look at it. Here we go. Okay, so that isn't much. There's a lot that I like about this. Like, from a Tolkien perspective, the number one thing that I like about this is, of course, it's about Narsil. right? Elendil's sword. And that was a huge thing that happened. It was huge, but like, there were a lot of things that happened at the end of the season. Of the like exciting things that happened at the end of the season, from a like Tolkien fan perspective, Elendil receiving Narsil was a huge deal. But as far as the like the trajectories of the storylines go, it like, for instance, received less spotlight than the fight with the Balrog, for instance, and the death of Durin the Third, or the big conflict with Sauron, right? In some ways, it kind of felt like it got buried a little bit. Oh, hang on, you're muted there, Maggie. Yeah.
Oops, sorry, forgot to mute myself. Yeah, totally. And even like you just listing those things off, I was like, oh yeah, all that stuff. Like
Yes.
all those things happened. Yeah, Narsil totally got buried.
Yeah, I mean, it
under
was
all
it.
that.
It was a sort of climactic moment though again, less dramatic than, Muriel's being not executed, right, in her trial.
Right.
So the saving of her life was more dramatic. Her being found innocent in her trial by ordeal.
Oh yeah, and that was the chosen by the sea serpent. That was a cool scene. Yes.
Yes,
Oh,
exactly.
it's flooding back. Yeah.
Exactly. It's coming back. So, anyway, so the point is that Narsil, like Elendil having Narsil now, is a really huge deal. So I love the focusing on that, right? But the thing that was the most interesting choice to me in this is like what message this sends. Because it's not a preview.
That's my question. Like, what's the purpose of this?
Okay.
Because more than anything else, it kind of looks like a spec video about the prop to send, like a daily, to send to the director and be like, is this what you want it to look like on screen?
Okay.
Like, when I was doing Captain America, they had like 5 controlled copies of the shield.
Uh-huh.
And that shield, like there could only be 5 in existence at any time.
Okay.
And those 5 had to be shot under different layers of ice, in the snow at different angles, like being thrown across a train, like all these different ways just to like see how it could be used.
Uh-huh.
So there was one guy who like that was his whole job, was to just get like reference photography of the shield in different perspectives and then show it to the director to choose like how they wanted to do things.
Right.
That's kind of what this looks like to me. Like,
So
does the light glint off of it correctly?
right,
And
right. I can see those elements. But I do see a clear narrative in this whole thing. So
like, talk me through it.
okay, all right. I'll talk you through the narrative. So the scene opens. The very first image that we get as it fades from black is about 3/4 sea and 1/4 shore, right?
Mm-hmm.
But there is immediately something odd so this looks like, a really cool set. Except we can immediately see, one of the things that jumps out is this walkway here, right? This walkway and all those people up there on it. And then as we pan back even further, we can see like a Jeep up on the hill up there, right?
Yeah.
So it's clear from the very opening shot, this is not in fact a shot from the show. This is a
No.
production shot. We are seeing them preparing to shoot a scene, and given with the ocean and the beach, I'm Numenor right away. Like, I'm like, okay, this must be somewhere in Numenor, right? That this is happening. And plus, like, you look at that, look at those like those cliffs
The
and
dramatic
those like really
lava.
awesome, like
Yeah.
like lava flow beach, like. That's an awesome set right there. Like I can see why their location spotter chose this one, because this looks fantastic, right? So,
Yeah.
but again, it's clearly not. We're not being shown a shot. We're being shown this is a production shot, right? And then the next thing we get from here is, oh yeah, and there we go. We pan up even further and look. There's all the trailers, right, and the little house up there. So again, the reveal is more and more. First, we get what looks like it could be the actual shot of the coastline of Numenor. And then we get up enough to see like, oh no, they're shooting the coastline of Numenor. And then we get to see like, no, this is the whole thing. It's happening, right? This is not even just like a location spec shot, right? This is, look at all those trailers. Everyone's there, right? Everyone's here on location to shoot stuff. Real shooting actually so the first message I'm getting is production is in fact underway. Look at production being underway. That's the very first message that I'm receiving, right?
I also like the way that we're entering it. It's like you are swooping in to join this party.
Right. And we're coming from across the sea towards Numenor.
Yeah, we are coming
right?
from across the sea to see what's going on, but you're immediately in it in terms of like, expectation setting. This is not a clip from the show. You're watching us make this thing. Come on, come join us.
Yeah. No, that's fun. That's really fun. Okay, so and now where do we go from here? So from here, okay, now we get this shot. So on the one hand, Narsil, immediately recognizable thanks to the Peter Jackson film, right? We can tell that the hilt looks like the hilt of Narsil, the shards of Narsil, going to be reforged as Anduril, right? So to Tolkien geeks and Peter Jackson geeks, this is immediately recognizable. Even if you don't, if you just watch The Rings of Power, like if for some reason you're one of the very small demographic that watched The Rings of Power but has never seen the Peter Jackson films, you might not recognize this, perhaps, right? But most everybody else will remember it.
But then we also have
a wire,
a mic cable, the mic box.
Yeah,
it looks like a North Face jacket,
right? And somebody's cargo shorts. Yes, exactly. Yeah. So it's very clear. Again, this is not a live shot. Once again,
it's not a costume.
But notice there's that same combination. Like the first thing that my eyes fixed on in the previous shot was the sea and the shore, right?
Yeah.
And so my very first snap impulse was like, ooh, it's a shot. And then it's like, oh, no, it's not a shot. It's a production shot. And it's the same thing. The first thing I see is the sword. And I'm like, ooh, it's the sword no, it's not being wielded. It's being held by a stage dude.
It's being held by a stage dude, but like, look how it's shot.
Yes.
I mean, that is a beautiful shot.
It's a beautiful shot.
Total rule of thirds, taking up the right quadrant. Like, it's just a really nice angle. It's very dramatic. We're expecting it to be pulled from that sheath and very powerfully gripped. Like, it looks like it is an action shot from the film.
He's holding it at his hip, right? Yeah. He's not wearing it, obviously. He's just holding it there. But yes, it evokes the wearing and wielding of Narsil. But it isn't the wearing and wielding of Narsil. It's like a stage, like a crew member holding Narsil. Maybe that's Lloyd Owen's hand. I'm not sure. But Unlikely. And then, and this is probably a camera person. Looks like a camera person in the background.
I'm going to guess a PA. Oh, but in the back. Camera person. Yeah.
Because it looks like they're holding a camera. You can't see it. They're out of focus, but it kind of looks like that, right?
Their arms are up as if they are positioning. Yeah. Sure.
So then we come forward, and now we're seeing it from behind. And so now, like here, it looked like it just kind of caught him with it next to his hip. Mm-hmm. Now he's holding it just down on his side and walking. And now cargo shorts confirmed. Okay, so again, now there's no effort at like suspending disbelief, right? This is a behind the scenes, again, it's a production shot. So once again, the message I'm getting is, look, like production actually occurring. Now who's in the background? Well, that brown garment being worn by the person in the background looks like it could be period costuming. Possibly. Maybe. It's not guaranteed, but the other guy looked like probably a camera person. At least now it's like, wait a second, is that somebody? Who's dressed up or not? I think it looks a little. It could just be a jacket. I don't know.
Yeah, the quilted pattern. It could just be Ella Bean.
Yeah, it could be Ella Bean. Yeah.
Yeah.
Anyway, but it's a little. It's more ambiguous anyway than the guy's pullover and cargo shorts for sure. Yes. Right.
Yes.
So then he comes and he stomps it down. It's interesting, like the perspective, not the perspective, like the focus, like nothing's in focus right here. Mm-mm. Like his body, like his side is in focus for a moment, and then he sticks it in the ground.
Yep.
And then now it comes into focus, and that's Lloyd Owen's hand.
Yeah, that transfer is pretty cool.
Yes. That's where it's that transfer that says narrative to me. Right?
Yeah.
The first shots by themselves could just be like, hey, look, production is happening. Isn't that cool? Right?
Great. Like, look, we still are alive and we're filming.
Yeah. But the handing, like when the dude in cargo shorts is just walking, holding the sword by his side. It's just a prop, right? Now, when he sticks it in the ground and Lloyd Owen reaches out and grabs it like this, now it's Narsil,
Yeah.
right? Now this is a moment, and then we get, and that's when it comes into focus. And of course, notice that his hand is even more in focus than the sword, right?
And his face is out of focus, but you can still tell the expression that he's making, which I quite like. It's a very subtle.
Yes.
It's the performance is powerful, but the focal point is the sword.
Yes. And his
And in
hand
the
on the
foreground,
sword.
fully in focus.
Yes.
And surely that's not how you hold a sword. I'm not a swordsmith. But
Well, no, but I mean, if you're holding it in the scabbard, point down in the ground, then
on your
you might
knee.
on your
Yeah.
knee you might hold it like that.
Yeah.
Like he's not about to hit anybody with it, of course.
And also that's kind of an interesting point too, on your knee. Like he's reverent receiving this from the PA. So like we leave the realm of production, we enter the realm of story.
Exactly. That's exactly it. And then what do we see? The
Slow pan
kneeling
up.
posture, right, is immediately emphasized by the shift to, in fact, his knee, right, the one that's not bent. So his single knee, which shows that he's on one knee, right, and his other knee there next to. And at first, like, I think the scabbard is really interesting because the scabbard, it almost looks like a staff, like it's not a, like, if you just saw this still, you might not guess exactly what that. You might guess it was a staff or something, right?
Yeah.
But anyway, then we go up and now he's holding it with the two hands. This is very like, crusader in prayer kind of posture, right? Look at you think of all of like Elendil's natty Numenorian uniforms that he's been wearing, in the first two seasons, and you look at this kind of comparatively, this looks like a soft leather tunic that has harder leather bits sewn onto it, which is like, poor man's attempt at armor, right? So it shows him in a very different place, but the posture of reverence. And again, and now we come in square, you can see him more clearly kneeling. We come in again, emphasizing his hand on the hilt, and now it's the sword as he brings the sword down. The sword. Now we can see his makeshift armor. We can see the
Metal pieces.
like, again, not real impressive, rough DIY leather clasps and stuff, right? And the thing that is most clear is the sword, the hilt piece of the sword, right?
And so glowing compared to everything else. And again,
Yes.
just how this is shot. I mean, look at how much of the frame that sword is taking up
Yes.
against that muted dark background. And the shot that you had framed up before where he was kneeling on the landscape and the landscape was tiered
Yes.
and
Right there. Yeah.
quite not treacherous, but like really rough, right?
Right.
So like you have these rock layers and then you get the beautiful smooth lines of the sword in contrast and you get the earthy dark tones against the silvery white.
Right. Like, think of the difference between this beach and the beach on which remember the first time they did the sea is always right chant when like the sailors came in, and like we saw Isildur's first heartfelt reunion with his horse. Right on the beach there in season 1, that was like a sandy beach, like an open sandy beach, right? And this is as you say, he's in a very different situation. People have been noticing the ring. I think the ring is on what hand is it on? It comes in. It's on his right hand.
Oh, is
there. Yeah, because that's his right hand grabbing the sword. So yeah, it's on his right hand, which means we can't, like, it would be there, but we're not shown it clearly. We only see the ring and it's out of focus. We can't clearly see what the ring is, and we don't see it at all here. And here again, it's not there now. It should be there on his right hand. So yeah, that's interesting.
Still be there. Yeah, it might still be there, just over the ridge.
I don't think so. Anyway, whatever. We don't see it in any case.
That's really the whole finger.
I agree with, so of course what Tolkien fans are asking, is that the Ring of Barahir that he's wearing? And it doesn't look like it to me. My guess would be is that it's his wedding ring or something. But anyway, so I like it, that the handing off of the sword from, the like, and here's where we are. We're on this beach. So now, of course, I come back to this beach and I'm like, oh, this must be Western Numenor. Must be. Because Elendil wasn't leaving Numenor. He was headed for Western Numenor at the end of the season. Like, we learned that. We knew that. This certainly looks like, we haven't seen this terrain, right? So this looks like certainly a very different part of the island. But then, so here, like, shooting is happening. The focus is then on the sword. This video is called Sword, right? So the prop is the centerpiece. And it's all about that narrative transfer, right?
Yeah.
From the production team, and now magic. Now it's Elendil again, and it's inviting us to... And this, of course, gets me thinking about all the things that we talked about, about the Numenor storyline and the Elendil storyline, and, where it's been and where we're heading, and that's... So anyway, so that's the narrative. That's what I like about it.
Can you take it back to that handoff from the PA to Elendil? I just want to see what the camera does, because I feel like the camera's...
So the camera's like panning.
The camera's following. The camera's like a member of the crew. And then we get this handoff, and I feel like we get the same camera does like a little bit of a swoop.
Yeah.
Yep. We go from...
It starts swooping around. Yeah.
So the perspective changes. So like it's not just a handoff. Our actual perspective of the camera lens changes too, which is really cool. So all of a sudden we are looking at Elendil as the audience, not as a member of the production crew. So we start as a member of the crew, and then we end up as an audience member, as a viewer of the show.
Yeah, but
it's pretty cool.
The viewers, we're focused on the sword, but it is like we are being passed off as well. Like we're viewing the pass off, but we're not just like a passive view. Yeah, anyway, I think what I'm doing is agreeing with you, but I think that the focus, I think, is also really important. Like, once he lets go of it, his hand is in focus right here.
Yeah.
The production dude's hand is in with his, watch and stuff. Again, no attempt to disguise modern person in modern dress. And the sword is maximally out of focus here when we see his hand. But then as it shifts, we begin to see the sword more clearly, but it's Elendil's hand that really comes into focus. And then, as you say, we start to shift around, and then it cuts to full frontal shot of the sword. Now we're, it's what I think what I was trying to articulate before, as you said, we're being invited onto the production team here visually, right? But there's this, right now, only the production team is seeing what's happening because it's still in production, right? And so the sneak peek that we are being given is like explicitly this sneak peek of what the production people are currently seeing, because production is happening, right?
Yeah.
And I don't know, I like it.
I mean, I'm so glad we do this, because I have so much more appreciation of this clip now, because I wish you'd heard me the first time I watched it, because I was like, what is the point of this? But like, this is what the point of this is. It didn't go anywhere, which is the part that surprised me, because it does get us talking. It does get us thinking. So I'm surprised they didn't put it out and share it with us, of like, and I don't just mean us as in you and me, but like the world. This is the kind of stuff that does get us a little buzzy and excited, and they put some thought into it. This isn't just random B-roll. This is pretty cool.
Yeah, I will say, I will say consistently with the Rings of Power, the material that they put out has been really interesting and well done. I just always wish there was more of it.
And it takes a lot of analysis to see how clever it is.
Wow. Yes.
Yep.
Yeah. Yeah. And
It's
Druid's
very cool though.
and Druid's Fire, you're right. I also like the dichotomy of fancy elven sword versus raggedy human armor. Yes.
Yeah.
Yes. And of course, that also invokes the situation in not only the situation in Numenor, but the situation in Middle Earth as well. Like the struggle of the, survivors of the Southlanders down there, where Isildur has been, in season 2, and their encounters with elves and like Arondir over there, and with Galadriel when she was there, and now with the Numenorians at the very end of the season. So yeah.
And this exact moment is really cool just to see the man-made metal, that tarnished dark buckle,
Yes.
that janky metal plate squares,
Yes.
and then this glowing, smooth,
Yeah.
iridescent elven metal.
Yeah. It's just, yeah. It looks so perfect compared to all of the craftsmanship, the other
Hmm.
craftsmanship that we can see, even down to like his pants and boots. Like, yeah. I mean, it doesn't look horrible. His coat,
Oh,
right? His
boots
pants.
are pretty impressive.
Well, I don't know if I'd say impressive. They don't look
It's a
bad.
smooth leather.
It's a
Yeah.
smooth leather. I don't know what that strappy business is for. I don't know why they're cross-gartered, but like, who knows? There's probably a good reason. Um, but yes, yeah. Anyway, all right. Enough with Lloyd Owen's mighty knee. Let us look at the other video.
Excellent.
The other video, which is called Crown. And of course, we begin with the Crown of Morgoth here. Okay, notice a similar narrative structure, right? Once again, we have like clearly a prop guy or quite possibly an artist, right? Like finishing the preparation of the thing, picking it up off his obviously modern work table, right?
Hmm.
And then we get this whole drama of it being carried from multiple angles, and the shadow of it being carried. That was my favorite shot. And then handed in, like literally in a door,
Yep.
right, into someone else's hands. A hand which is rather conspicuously wearing a single gold ring. I can't help but notice. Probably a coincidence. Though that's hard to imagine in this case.
Right.
And then vanishing, and then we get the shot of, and now the crown has clearly entered, the world of story here at the very end. Now there are many, so the overall shape of it, very similar, but I think we can see lots of differences between this one and the other one.
I'm pulling it up so I can look at it with you.
Okay.
Yeah, totally. I mean, we start full on production. I mean, even that workbench, just seeing like the brushes and the paint and the saw and the like, this is a rough hewn created
Right.
piece.
It's kind of
Um,
fun, like seeing the crown of Morgoth with a literal hacksaw sitting in the
yeah,
background.
and like
Right.
Elmer's glue. Yeah,
Yes.
like it might be a Campbell's soup can.
Yes.
What I loved about it was like, I think you even said the dramatic presentation or something, where it's just like the way this was edited with that music, each cut lands on a shift perspective of the crown, but still all in production. So like we know it's in production, but somehow even in production, this thing is bad, you
Right.
know?
Yes. Yes.
There's a vibe.
Yeah. I mean, one of the main things I had to watch this clip twice just because I I got so lost in how awesome that music is again,
Yeah.
because it'd been a while since I'd heard it, and then I was like, oh man,
So good.
the Sauron music is so good. Um, but
We should have Bear on again. We didn't really talk to him much about season two.
no, we didn't. We should. Um, okay, but see, here is one thing. So I guess you could say that we saw something. Like we got a little bit of a teaser of actual story from season 3, in that we see Elendil kneeling on what seems to be a beach in Western Numenor, right? So
Right.
we get a little shot of the future there in that sense. But it wasn't much of a reveal, right? I mean, like we knew he was headed for Western Numenor. We knew he had gotten Narsil, so we see him with Narsil on a beach, which I'm only presuming is Western Numenor because they told us he was going to go there in the last season, right? So, so we didn't like learn anything exactly from that other episode, like that other video. It was cool, but we didn't learn anything. This is something new. That the old crown, which was one of the signature props of season 2, right, which we see in the guy's hand, and the guy's holding it just like Adar held it when he crowned Sauron at the beginning, right, of episode 1 of season 2. So we've got the crown of Morgoth, but instead of being lowered upon a head, it's being lowered onto like what it first looks like. Maybe it's some kind of stand.
I mean, it looks like it's got the two handles to be carried, so it felt very ceremonial, like some sort of coronation rack.
Yeah, I mean, so it's clear when you see it up close that
Yeah.
whatever this other metal piece is that it's being fitted into is similar, right? Is like
Yes.
of similar make and model, right?
Complementary piece.
Yes, it's a complementary piece. And then
To
when
stand on your dresser and to hold your evil crown.
yeah. So this is movement. Like, so this is new. I mean, I'm not saying necessarily that it's major and stunning, but it's new. Like, there's this. So, because keep in mind, it's not just like this was Sauron's crown. And in season 3, like, join us in season 3 when Sauron accessorizes. Though actually, come to think of it, that might be a good synopsis of season 3, in fact.
Not too far off.
But anyway, like, it's, a kind of like an ad which says like, do you need the perfect accessory to go with your ancient crown of evil? Like, all of our like ancient crown of evil customers are now getting the like deluxe holding rack accessory.
Yeah, or order now.
Order now.
We'll throw in the holding
Right.
rack.
Exactly. But here's the thing. But here's why that's interesting. That crown is meant to be like thousands of years old. Right? So this is not like Sauron's own personal thing, which like in season 3, Sauron makes a rack upon which to rest his, natty crown. Instead, he, like, if that is the same, that crown was special. It's meant to be Morgoth's crown, for crying out loud. Is this also Morgoth's hat rack or
I
something?
mean, I'm kind of assuming they've always gone together. We just never saw the rack part.
But that's the point. We never did see it, right?
Yeah.
So what on earth is going on? So apparently, there's more. Okay, I'm going to be just distracted by the music if I play the music. Okay, so there's more. And when we see it here, it's not just a rack.
No.
That's got like whole separate additional pieces.
That's a carrying thing. Those are handles for sure.
It's a convenient carrying case.
Like when it's too heavy to put on your head, you've got some, like, I don't know, maybe it's like carrying the people that go into the war carrying the banner. It's like the guy next to you will be holding the crown, just in case there's ever any confusion as to who you are.
I buy that.
I mean,
They do look
sure.
like handles. I mean, they look like handles that could stab you, but hey,
Yeah.
Crown of Morgoth, like, not without risk, handle with care, with or without disclaimer, right? Yeah. And what's on the bottom? I love this shot, by the way, the pure white background. You can't see anything. After that really busy background with like the Campbell soup can, and which I don't think is Campbell soup, but in fact, we could probably, if we were really energetic, we could probably identify the brands involved in those 3 jars in the background and figure out exactly where
Oh,
this is
look, I can
located?
right now. That green and gold one is Lyle's golden syrup. I use it to
The
make
one on the
pecan
left.
pie.
Yes, that is Lyle's golden syrup.
That's Lyle's golden syrup.
Yeah,
I think that one is Hunt's tomato.
it does look. Yeah, and is that a? Is it? That's not like a.
I don't know the green one.
The green and white.
Kind of looks like corn. Either way, these are just bog standard tins.
Right, but they're
Aluminum
British
can.
tins. Is the
They are
point?
British. Well, at least the Lyle's is, but you would get Lyle's in New Zealand as well,
Yeah.
and I assume this is what a workshop.
Is this? Is that Gorilla Glue? The orange one?
Might be.
Anyway, um,
I don't think so. I feel like that's a different label.
I think it is. Reminds
Okay.
me of it, but anyhow, so we go from this really busy background, and then in every angle we can see it. Like there's the fan going in the background, right? Look at the walls decorated in this person's studio, right?
I assume that's concept art and all sorts of sketches and ideas.
I love the
Busy.
candles in the foreground,
Ooh, I didn't even notice that.
right?
Nice.
It's just like, but anyway, like it's
We
busy,
need some ambiance. Let's just put a few candles in there.
right? Well, I'm sure they probably work with the candles. So in every place we were spending a lot of time looking at focus on the other one. The crown is in focus. Like the crown is in focus everywhere. It's never out of focus. It's like super close up. Like you can see like you know, every individual grain on the middle here, right?
Mhm.
But the background is like busy, 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 and then boom, pure white background, and that's when it centers and we see the entire thing. I
And
love
how
that.
it like locks together. That
Yes,
felt very
it looks
oh,
like one object
intentional.
now.
Yeah.
And then we see it from the side in its holder, if holder it be. And so apparently it's welded onto this platform, which is what, like a stone platform?
Looks like it. Yeah.
And then the guy in the, zipper cardigan or whatever, right? And what is that thing in the foreground? Something hanging from the
A
ceiling?
light?
I don't know,
Or
maybe.
like a
Maybe it's the arm of a light or something.
yeah, like a desk lamp.
Yeah. Yeah, maybe. Um and then he picks up the whole thing.
Yeah.
And so when he's holding it like this and then turns it to the camera like that, this is like, okay,
That.
this looks like prop, right? I'm holding a prop. Again, just like the other guy was holding the sword prop. And now he turned, he's walking with
I
it.
love that where the light comes onto it. Like it's in darkness, it steps into light,
Oh, yes.
and it's just being carried at waist height. But again, look how much of the frame it takes up. It is dead center, taking up the whole center panel of that third.
And yes, I love the from darkness into light.
Mm-hmm.
And then we see from the bottom up,
Yeah, that angle.
just the briefest
So
shot.
it's powerful. We are weak. We are below it.
Right.
With like
And yet,
some sort of air duct
right,
behind it.
exactly. Yeah, and
Yeah.
yet we're seeing the HVAC in the background. Yeah, exactly. And then here again, and then the ominous shadow. Well, at least its shadow is ominous.
That's
Like
pretty cool.
the dude wearing a baseball cap, less so, right? But
But with the music, it's somehow
yes,
still very
extremely
threatening. But when you
ominous.
freeze it like that, it also looks like somebody's just taken the head off of a dragon costume. It's just carrying the head of the dragon costume.
Yes, yes. And this is, I think, what, like a concrete, like a sidewalk,
Yeah,
some kind of
just the
concrete
back
walk.
lot.
Yep, and we can see once again, notice how one of the sort of themes where our vision was being manipulated, like our perspective was being manipulated, and we were kind of following the sword and things were coming in and out of focus and the camera was shifting around in the other one. This one is all just, it's like 100% crown 100% of the time, right? We're
Yeah,
always completely focused on that. And yet what they're doing is playing with what's in the background. we get all that stuff on the desk and the walls in the studio,
Mm-hmm.
his creator studio there to begin with. And now we're getting the walls of the buildings. I don't know what that is back there, but it's like
Electrical cabinet or something.
It's colorful in any case, so like sort of distracting, but there's like, in other words, there's a lot going on around it, but it's just the crown. Like the focus is just on the crown, where there's all this stuff going on. So again, while the other one was showing like, look at the production team at work, look at the trailers on the hill, look at the set, right, look at the cameraman in the background, and
There's no establishing shot here. It's just the crown.
right, it's just the crown all the time. But we get all of this very blurry, very non-focused background that shows us like, but all of these things are happening, right? You can see the production studio going around behind it. And now we're handing it in, and those doors.
So those would be the doors into the set.
Into the set, I think, right? The studio doors from the outside, right?
Yeah.
And the handoff.
And that makes that handoff, that makes the stone plinth look really quite proppy fake like that.
It does.
Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. And I think from the moment he picks it up, it looks proppy fake.
Yeah.
The base of it.
The base, yeah. The
Yeah.
crown still looks pretty good, especially with the light off of it and stuff.
Yeah.
But yeah, it still looks kind of proppy.
Just like him carrying it around like that looks proppy fake. But that, I think, is again the point. Just like,
Yes.
it's
a prop.
It's a
and
prop.
now it's the crown. Yeah.
Now we're at this liminal moment.
And look at the handoff too. They actually grasp each other's hands. Like there's a physical touch of the guy putting his hands over the giver, and the giver just holds them still as the taker removes it. Like that's
Yes.
not really how you normally
With his
hand
hands, like
something
notice how
over.
his left hand here is still out, his fingers not touching the prop, because that's where the other guy's hand was, right? So he had his fingers around there, and then he doesn't move his hands, so he still has this like strange grasping gesture even as he's carrying it in. It is a really, what they've done with the hands there is very like, they worked that through very carefully.
That's
right?
choreographed.
That's
yeah.
very choreographed, yeah. And of course, as I say, it's right at the liminal space. And the liminal space, like the boundary, the border where it is the border of the set, right?
Yep.
And the artist, presumably, right, who has made and completed the crown, or at least the crown and the crown, the nice crown stand, right? He is the bearer of the prop to the set, but he is not allowed entry into the set.
Right.
He is on the outside, right?
I love the identification of this liminal space. Like all of a sudden, it gives it a narrative that I didn't necessarily see immediately, because this is what makes you realize it's not just B-roll, like that they're just haphazardly.
Yeah.
Like no, there's a thought behind this, that we have a prop and the creators and movement, and then we hit a space where it stops being a prop and it starts to be the crown.
To be an object, to be the crown of,
Yes.
of Morgoth.
A character.
Yes.
Yeah. Thing of power.
Yeah. Though I think the overlapping of the hands sort of suggests like there's
A
there's-
transfer.
yeah, there's something almost handshaky in how their hands interact. It's not like it's a caress or something like that, but it's
No.
but it's an overlap. It's not just a hand, like you're extending something in your hand and someone else extending their hand and grabbing the other end of it, right, and taking it. There's a cooperation here,
Yeah.
and yet a
And a
boundary.
little bit of reference too.
Yes. Yeah, for sure. And anytime like handing something in at a door and not going in yourself, like that's a significant thing when you do that. Like this thing is entering and you are there at the door. I cannot come in, but I can hand this thing into you and you receive it. And take
Yeah,
there's a ceremonial element of that, right?
I'm also thinking about the end of Rogue One, where they're trying to get the plans
Yes.
through the sliding doors, and they know they're not going to make it, but they can get the plans through on the disc. And like, yeah, there is this element of I cannot, but you can have.
But you can have, yes, exactly.
Yeah.
Yeah. And there's also, needless to say, something ominous about the hands, the disembodied hands, whose person we now we never see the artist's head, so we never see anybody's
but we
faces.
see a bracelet, we see a shirt, we can tell that it's just a prop dude, right?
We see the outline of his baseball cap on the shadow on the ground, right?
Yeah.
So yeah, we can. He's not mysterious. Like he's sort of depersonalized in the sense that it's not about him personally because we don't see his face, but we see him him doing stuff from many different angles, right?
Yeah.
But this other person is just a pair of hands reaching out and then pulling the crown in, right? Really cool. And notice the difference there, again from the other video, where Lloyd Owen, like when Lloyd Owen is handed the sword, and it's recognizably Lloyd Owen. Even as you say, even when his face was not in focus, you could still see that it was him, and you could still see what his face looked like, right? Even though it wasn't in
You can
focus.
still see emotion, yeah.
But like we don't know, like, are those Charlie's hands, right? Like, is that Charlie Vickers? We don't know, right? Is that somebody?
He's got a ring on.
It's got a ring on. It's got a ring on. All we know is it's somebody, right? And then it vanishes, and now inside the darkness, everything has been brightly lit so far.
Yeah.
Like,
And then being lit by fire.
and now we enter into the inner dark space, and now all is shadows and darkness
Yeah,
and fire.
all is shadows. That's
the
such a great
background.
way to phrase
Yeah.
it. Like all is shadows. Like we can't see any of the detail, but it doesn't matter. Like the darker, the creepier.
Yeah, and we can't even tell, like, what is that spike thing in the background? Like, what even
And
is
there's no
that?
stand no stand
Yeah, and what happened to
anymore.
the stand? The stand, which was like this whole feature, now he's taking the crown off the stand
That
and they're
that
putting it
could be one
down.
of those really cool details though of just like they've thought it through so much that they built that world in which of course there's a stand. You wouldn't just throw your crown on the bed at the end of the day. Of course
Right.
there's a ceremonial stand to put it in, even if you never see it on camera. They know, so they built
Right.
it. You know, it's like I kind of like that idea
Yeah.
that maybe we will never see that stand on film, and that's fine because we haven't seen it before. Why would we see it now? But it exists, like the same way we assume they have underwear or something like that. Like
Right.
it exists.
Right. Yes. And even like the way it's being put down, this is when we saw it, like on the ground or on a table or something, it was always like this. Because with the pointy bits coming down on the crown, you can't just sit it on a table. It doesn't
Right.
sit on a table. It tilts on a table like this. You can kind of balance it on its points on a table like this.
Right.
But yeah, I agree with Karen. It looks really dragon-like at the end.
Yeah.
The crown itself, yes. And we can just see details of things in the foreground, but it's not clear what they are. Is that cloth or no? Maybe that's a map.
Paper.
Yeah, it looks like maybe it's paper. I can't tell what these things are. I don't know what that spike is. There seems to be something on the far left, but I don't know what it is. And we're not going to get any more details. Like if you just go over, that's the most we see of it. Is that a
That's most we
mask?
see.
Is that who knows what that is?
Pipe? Is that somebody's flashlight? No.
Right. Yeah. But
Yeah.
I think here again we're now completely in the world. Yeah.
Totally. And like you said with the light, I mean, we had all of the artificial light and all of the sunlight in the previous shots, and now we only have firelight.
Yeah.
And we've had a lot of conversations about firelight on the crown, so that's pretty cool.
Yeah. And now if we go back and add the sound is kind of comical here, I think, because we're getting the Mordor music, right? The Sauron theme in its full and most ominous and oppressive sense, while at the same time we're getting all these brightly lit scenes.
Yeah. I kind of like that though. Like there is something about that juxtaposition that brings the creative world into the real world.
Yeah.
So like we do have a clearer tie between the fiction and the reality, and that makes sense with Morgoth's crown because it's just so dang powerful that like there should be some sort of transcendence. Like you don't just work on this prop like it's a piece of food on the table.
Right.
Like this is the crown.
Right.
I feel like even in the real world it carries some gravitas.
Yeah. I love how they when the male voices come in
Mm-hmm.
is when he turns around and starts carrying it as if like this were suddenly like if you played this without sound, right? Like, oh, like here's an artist at work and he's putting here, you could imagine a little commentator being like, right now he's going to rest it on the stand and doesn't that look beautiful, folks? Now he's going to take it over to the studios, right?
You went full Bob Ross. I like it.
Right? Like you could totally see that, right? But the whole thing is given this like evil, ceremonious, it's like the suspense. Oh no, is he going to? He did! Don't. And then the voice, as soon as he picks it up, the voices pick up. And now he's carrying it.
This would be an excellent example of like power of
good.
soundtrack, where if we
Oh
just
my
put like the
goodness.
Benny Hill music over it, like
Exactly.
like, it takes on a whole different meaning. But
Whole
when you
different
give
meaning.
it Bear McCreary's track
Yes.
with that music and the edits too, just having it have that punchiness, like we're still in production. We still see that this is how the prop was created,
Yes.
but it just ties it so much more closely to the import that we know that object has.
Yeah. 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 So that's neat. I mean, I do think that this one seems to be more comical, whereas the other one was a little bit more dramatic in the sense of and the narrative felt a little bit stronger, especially given that the moment of narrative drama in Elendil's personal story, which was the culmination of his story in season 2, was the moment when he was handed the sword by Muriel, right? And then, although what we're seeing is just a member of the crew carrying the sword and carrying it quite casually down by his side, as soon as he puts it in the ground and then
Yeah.
so he's being handed the sword again, right? It's like let's take up the story once more. That's why the sword one seems to me to have a lot of narrative drive in that way, whereas this one is almost comical in its way, and yet is still conveying the same message. Production is happening. Look at things happening behind the scenes.
And interesting that they put out these two. I mean, there's so many other props they could have filmed or other things they could have focused on. None of these are rings, then
Right.
they're not showing those. But I like that they're doing these two of the good and the bad, the crown versus the sword, the king versus, like there's lots of different kind of comparisons you can do. I wonder if they shot others and just decided to release these two, or if it's like, nope, we're just going to do these two specific shots, focus in on these things, because they both do still build character and idea and purpose, even in these really simple, 25-second clips.
Yeah. Yeah. No, they do.
But why didn't they make them easier for us to find?
I don't know. They did seem to go to a lot of effort in making these.
Yes.
But
And they are quite clever when you actually
and they're quite
start looking
clever.
through them.
But they didn't seem to go to quite as much trouble in promulgating them as
No.
they did in making them. Yeah.
Well, do you want me to set up your next clip?
Sure.
So we watched these and we were like, hey, we did something kind of like this. So behind the scenes, we're working on some stuff at studios to just help to put together a portfolio that we hope to be able to make some content with some of the bigger studios down the line of things that we all want, right? Like we want some of this deeper conversation about the props. So we shot a prop video. When was that? February?
Had to be at least February. Like at least that
Yeah.
long ago. That
Yeah.
is to say. It was a while back.
We shot a prop video some time ago, and it's still in production, so it hasn't quite come out for a number of reasons yet. But we've got this like 38-second clip that we just thought we would show you guys, because why not? Of Corey talking about Andy Earl.
There we go. Yeah. Same sword, eventually.
The sword of Elendil was forged anew by elvish smiths, and on its blade was traced a device of 7 stars, set between the crescent moon and the rayed sun, and about them was written many runes, for Aragorn, son of Arathorn, was going to war upon the marches of Mordor. Very bright was that sword when it was made whole again. The light of the sun shone redly in it, and the light of the moon shone cold, and its edge was hard and keen. And Aragorn gave it a new name and called it Andúril, Flame of the West.
Nice.
I mean, the whole clip or the whole video is actually about 9 minutes long. So
Yeah.
obviously it's not just that because
Yeah.
we can't do anything quickly.
My
Um,
my proudest moment uh, when recording this is that we had I read and translated the Quenya that's on the sword at one point. And I got the Quenya on the first take. I was so pleased with myself. I'm like, I
how
can't
proud
believe I
was
did that.
and how proud was Ben?
Yeah, we were we were pretty pleased that day. Wait, hang on. David Roberts says there's an Arondir clip too. No, I didn't see
What?
that.
What?
No,
I only have these two.
no. See, this is what we're talking about. Like even these two, we had a hard time finding.
And these two came from Amazon. Like we eventually asked Amazon.
Yeah, yeah, yep.
Okay, well, we'll find the
We'll find the
Arondir
other one.
clip
Yeah, no.
for next time.
Not only have I not seen it, I haven't heard of it.
Nope.
And
not
it
a
was,
thing.
and frankly, as I said, it was like a piece of luck that I happened to hear about these.
And I only heard about them because Corey mentioned them. Like it still
Yeah.
hasn't come up in any of my streams or threads or chats or anything.
No, this is, I think, this wins the award. I think for me for the most well concealed piece of marketing that that I've ever found.
Druid's Fire just put the link to it if you want to do like a live react.
Okay, hang on. Oh well, hang on. This is a different thing.
Okay.
So this is footage that they posted on X. Hang on a second.
Oh, I see.
It's of
Or onto your training
yeah,
fights.
exactly. So hang on. Let me oy.
I don't have as much. Yeah.
Sorry.
Right?
Okay. Yeah, I'm trying to figure out how to get this on screen appropriately.
This is why it sometimes takes us a while to start up
Yeah.
a show because Corey is a magician and has to balance a ton of different screens to get us to be able to show things.
Yeah. Okay. Let me try to get to make. Did you hear sound just now? No, you probably did, Maggie.
Oh, no, I wouldn't have because I have you
wouldn't have.
muted.
Yeah.
Oh, they heard it.
They heard it? Okay.
Yep.
Good. Well, that tells me something. Anyway. Okay. Let me put it over here. Hang on. All right. Oh, let me try to get rid of the login screen. It's driving me crazy. Okay. There. Fine.
Excuse me.
All right.
Oh, well done.
There we go. If you guys can hear it, then that's fine. So this is right. So this is the first thing you can immediately tell. This is not a production video like the other ones were. Like the other ones were like well produced and edited. This is a clip.
Yeah, exactly. There were like specific shots in the last one. There
Yes.
was a storyboard for the last ones.
Yes. Yeah. That was definitely storyboarded. So here, this is Ismael Cruz Cordova. Stunt practicing.
Watch the arm, dude.
Okay. So it is, they're like, the closing screen is the same as the others, right? Sneak peeks of season 3.
Yeah, but no other part of it. And if anything, it makes us further and further away from the story. Watch and learn, baby, being the last line is so not around here.
Right. Yeah.
Like, not invited into the story. I'm
Right.
just watching
No.
a guy do some cool tricks.
It's very Ismael Cruz Cordova, but it's not
Yes,
very
yes.
Arondir. Yeah, yeah, exactly. It's just what David Michael was just saying. Yes, no, it's very Ismael, indeed.
Yeah, Drew, as far as it's like a TikTok video format. Yeah, exactly. It's very like, yep, here's a quick snippet. Whereas the others are like
Right.
narrative.
And
Ooh,
this is all,
story,
almost all one continuous shot, right? But I mean, it's the only kind of like real production element. I mean, it's not one continuous shot. There are multiple different shots.
There's some edits, but that's just to get to from trick to trick.
Watch the arm,
It's
dude.
not to tell a story.
Yeah, yeah, and it is set to music, right? So we do get the soundtrack element of it. But it does accomplish, in a sense, the like, hey, look, production is happening, right?
And interesting to choose a fight scene because, there's probably a certain expectation for a Lord of the Rings that there's, some battles and stuff, but it wouldn't necessarily be thought of as an action flick. So having an action clip, maybe that's some sort of a lure to a lesser accessed audience. We're trying to get those guys that are there for the good fights and watch the Mission Impossible movies or something. Like, look at these cool tricks. Don't know.
So the thing that I am still hoping to get a chance to do, I'm hoping to get a chance for the two of us to sit down with Ismail
Yes, please.
and go through some of his action sequences. Because it was my favorite thing, my very favorite moment in so we did there was a little party for the finale launch, and I was invited down to New York with a bunch of other folks to see the finale, and a bunch of the cast were there, and they were seeing it for the first time. Like it was the first time that anyone in the cast had seen episode 7 or 8 also. So it was really kind of fun sitting where I could watch Charlie Vickers and Charles Edwards, who were sitting together while they were seeing the conflict between, like, the death of Celebrimbor scene, for the first time, like on Skype. It was really neat.
I feel like I would be so torn of like, I have to see this scene. It's amazing.
Yeah, exactly. It kind of was. I was like going back and forth a lot. But anyway, so that was really fun. But Ismail was there, and afterwards they had a little panel. They all came up and sat in the front and kind of talked about it afterwards. And one of the things that Ismail said, I was fascinated to hear. He talked about how much he thinks. He's like, Arondir doesn't say much. Like, he doesn't have many lines. Like, Arondir he's not about words. Like, Arondir, it's all about motion. It's all about actions. And like how and he was saying, like, every step and gesture, every movement of every part of my body during every one of the action scenes has been like very deliberately thought through and planned and practiced, because he's like, this is like you would practice the delivery of an important speech, right? To try to capture every emotional nuance. He's like, that's what I am trying to do every time you see Arondir moving and acting, physically acting on screen during the action sequences. And so I can't help but think about that as we're watching him practice this. And there are so many things about this that, I keep going back to this scene. Him turning on his heels really fascinates me. So, and not just because it's like the thing we're instructed never to do in my martial arts style, but it's a very peculiar gesture. The way that he pulls his feet together and then turns on his heels.
Gets very tall and sinewy. Yes. Yeah.
I'm interested in his footwork and how, because again, this is the stuff, like this is him developing his lines, right? And how he is delivering this. This is him speaking Arondir's language here.
It's a ballet dancer going through the climactic moment of a story.
Yes.
This is how he tells his story.
Yeah.
But then they put that tagline on the end that just kind of, it's very Ismail. So
it's very Ismail, I think, is why they put it on. Yeah.
It's a balance.
Yeah. But even the watch and learn, baby tagline at the end, again, that's very much like Ismail was talking about, like how he wants you to watch how Arondir moves. Like it is not just I'm making stuff up to try to make myself look impressive, right? It's not, and you can see that. And honestly, I can see that, like even the difference between what he's doing through here, when he's interacting with other people, how he is carrying himself, how he is interacting with other people. There is so much more to this than simply, a lot of times people think about how it looks. They think about practicality, right? Especially people who, know martial arts will look at this and be like, oh, that you wouldn't do it that way. Like you shouldn't do that. But there's so much more to it. There's so much more to like the characterization and character development, even like they're going down on both knees and then coming up again.
Yeah.
Anyway, it's really interesting. So I look forward to the day when we can talk to Ismail about this stuff a little bit more.
I mean, I don't know when principal photography wraps, but we really should start. This is just us planning now. We really should make a list again of the people we want to talk to and just kind of some of the points from last season that we didn't get to cover going into third season, which they won't be able to reveal anything, but like we can talk about what we did see.
Yeah.
Because, there were a couple folks we had even lined up while we were in studio that we just couldn't schedule it up. But it would be lovely to bring up some of those conversations again while it's still in our brains.
Yeah. Yeah. Yep. Yes, it would.
And this is one of them. It'd be great.
Very
well, thank you
cool.
for that top tip. Hadn't seen that one.
Yep. Hadn't seen that at all either. Very cool.
Yeah.
All right.
Cool. Well, that was fun.
Yeah. An interesting little taste. I am really interested to I'm really interested to see. There's so many. I mean, we don't really have time. We don't really have time to talk in any more detail about season 3 or anticipation of season 3, but there's a lot of things that I'm really looking forward to about season 3 and kind of seeing where they go and what they do.
I would like to do that though, and I would like to rewatch some of 2, and that would be a good one, I think, to potentially bring Ben on, or one of the other folks that we've had these conversations with, to just start to speculate a little bit, not just in what from lore, but also what we have been shown in seasons 1 and 2, what kind of arcs we think they're developing, where we think they might go geographically, also where they might go character-wise. I think that would be a lot of fun. And we're going to have more content to play with in the coming months. Yeah, exactly. No, it will be very interesting to see. It's easy to remember how much fun it is to talk about Rings of Power stuff. Yeah, that's like, I still get these questions all the time. Just like, but is it good? I'm like, don't care. Love talking about it. Exactly. It's just so fun to talk about. Like and talking about it with you in particular and like our team, like when I first watched those clips, I was just immediately like, oh my God, like what is this showing us? And I'm like, oh my God, look at what this is showing us.
There's so much. It's so interesting. Yeah.
We just never see it on the first round. We see it on the third round.
Exactly. Exactly.
Yeah. That's great.
Awesome.
Cool. All right. We are not here for a while. So
That's right. Unfortunately, we're going to be, well, fortunately, I am going to be headed over to Maggie.
Corey and I will
soon.
be in the same place, just not with you, I'm afraid.
Just not at the right time. Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
And so Euromoot, Signum's Euromoot is happening this coming weekend, Friday, Saturday, and Sunday
Wales.
in Cardiff. So I'm headed over to Cardiff this week, and I will be heading home from Cardiff next week. So I won't be able to, I won't be around. I think I'm going to be in the greater Heathrow area next week at this time.
Good terminal. Good terminal. I know it well.
Exactly.
And then the following week, I'm in California. I'm in Los Angeles, so I'll be missing that one. But the following one, I'll be in Portland, Oregon, and should be able to do it. So the 18th?
I think
No,
that's the
20th. 20th.
Yes, 20th. I think that sounds right.
20th.
Yeah.
We'll be back on the 20th.
We'll be back on the 20th.
And we'll probably be doing a Tolkien.
Yeah, we have a special. This was an idea that emerged at our last moot at Cascade Moot, where we were hearing a presentation from and having a conversation with Miriam Ellis, who is a wonderful painter, a Tolkien artist who has recently published a book of her stuff, and her stuff is really wonderful. It's really interesting, and she's an extremely thoughtful visual adapter of Tolkien's text, and she has a bunch of paintings so two paintings we're going to be looking at from her are going to be things that she has adapted that I've never seen anybody else adapt. I've never seen a visual adaptation of these scenes. So these are moments. Some of them are not even in the books, only kind of implied in the books. Anyway, it's really interesting. So there's going to be some. So I thought this would be a really fun chance for Maggie and me to sit down. And Miriam's she has a recording. She's gonna. We're gonna play of her talking about her art, and then she'll probably be with us in the comments. She's not going to be able to broadcast live with us, but she'll probably be able to be with us in the comments as we discuss her work. So anyway, so sitting down to look at just some purely visual adaptations and what is going on there, and thinking about the relationship between image and text there, I think will be a fun little one-shot discussion. A lot of fun. So yeah. So that's what we're gonna do. That's what we're gonna do next time.
The 20th.
The 20th. Yeah, exactly. Because that will not only be after Euromoot, that will be right after New England Moot on the 18th.
Yeah. At Studio Lab. So hey.
Yeah.
Oh, that's fun. Sorry I'm missing that one, but that'll be fun.
Yes.
Cool.
Anyway, so that's the plan for the 20th, and then after that, we want to get back to Pride and Prejudice. So
it's been a while.
Yeah.
Awesome.
That's the plan. All right.
Take care.
Thank you, everybody, for joining us, and we'll see you guys in 3 weeks from today. Bye now.
Bye.